It's so nice to see you guys after a long time. The three rules in my firm and even in my workshop: 95% of all future cases are already over. Do your research well. Number two is with regard to networking outside the field of law. Very important again. Number three is with regard to not being the smartest person in the room. Like knowing your place, when to help people and stuff like that. Apparently now those three rules have two corollaries. The two corollaries goes like this. Everyone is gifted with some talent and every talent can be learned. I want you guys to believe that this field is not what you guys chose, but the field chose you. It'll happen. You guys will understand. When you see your peers leaving this field, you'll know that some of us are chosen by the field. Nobody was kind of, convinced enough to talk about what value they would add. Okay? And I think you guys are working on survival mode. Like basically looking out for survival. I think it's very smart. It's very smart to work on survival mode. But the people who are the smartest among the lot don't work on survival mode. They work on survival come risk mode. This was done in 2023, if I'm not wrong. I think in the December month. We will put it out on the group as well, the Origin Workshop WhatsApp group. So they believe that 49% will be there in regulatory compliance, 42% in mergers and acquisitions, 39% in litigation. So the idea is that most of them are not wanting to have in-house legal. They want to kind of outsource that work to people like us. If I'm going to charge for a particular case, right? I think the first thing, they would reach out to me only through known sources, through friends and word of mouth, because you cannot solicit, you cannot advertise. So that will ensure that only circular information reaches different people. So my friends of friends would reach out to me, right? So that would happen. I think when I'm going to dictate a fees, a few things comes in my mind. And I think this is more or less with regard to a generic parameter. Please do not take this as the only parameter. It gives you an idea. Please do not take this as the verbatim one. So first is the experience. Second is the expertise, nature of case, time taken, and documents required. During my last 10 years of work and my practice, I have come to understand that you can predominantly categorize different sets of clients, okay? And these sets of clients more or less will fall under these three buckets. Okay, the first one is the rigid ones, okay? The ones who will never listen to you. You'll have a client who's willing to pay you the big buck. They are troublemakers, they are willing to pay you a big buck, but they won't listen to you. As in, like if you tell them, please do not correspond with the other side party in a very hostile manner, they would not listen to you. They will do the error and then they will tell you, rectify it, that is why I'm paying you. That is the kind of people who fall under the rigid ones. And the problem with this rigid ones is that it takes a very humongous effort to put some sense into them. And most of the time, the lawyer is not the best person to do that. The courts and the judicial system is. The second bucket is the skepticals bucket. This bucket is where I will draw all your attention to, because this is the bucket that will regularly feed you. Okay? This is the bucket that you should aim for. This is the bucket that will ensure that you become one of the greatest advocates of your time. So these people constitute 90% of the population. They come through referrals, through word of mouth, through random collaborations, but they come to you with a sense of skepticism. They're not sure whether you can deliver success. They're not sure what kind of an advocate you are. They want to understand you, but they are yet to trust you. Okay, so the benefit of doubt should be in their favor. They have reached out to you, but they are not willing, or they are not yet convinced that you are the person to run their case. Okay, so what happens is, these are the people who will already read up on all the factors that is there in the law. Assume that they have a case of, say, they have a criminal case pending against them. They would have read about it thoroughly. They would have spoken to multiple lawyers, and you will also be another lawyer they reach out to because it is coming from a known source. If you convert the skepticals, okay, they promote you like nobody else. The HNI category, high net worth individuals. Hi Aditya, tell me, how will you acquire your clients?
I'm not sure, sir. I don't have much idea.
I think I respect his answer the most because he seems to have a very strong idea of not having an idea. Most of your first clients are your relatives and your friends. Your first clients will be your relatives and your friends. Please don't avoid them. Build on them, okay? These are people who are betting on you. They won't pay you much. Rather, they will basically shout at you and scream at you if you basically give them a wrong advice. Both are good. Not getting paid it is not so great, but knowing that you're just starting out, people are putting faith in you to ask a legal query is kind of nice, okay? And that comes from friends and family. Second, the idea that you have to give a correct opinion, because assume that you want to give an opinion, you're just a half-baked lawyer who's not yet fully figuring out things. Your responsibility to get a full opinion from a qualified professional, at least reaching out to the right advocate if you don't know the answer. That actually helps us in networking. Following up with clients on a timely basis is one of the best hacks ever. 85 to 95% of advocates lack this habit. They don't speak to their clients nicely. They don't speak to their clients on time, and they're not honest about what they're saying. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, because when the clients reach out to us after having a bad experience, they are not willing to trust us. Once again, they're more skeptical than being just skeptical. It takes more effort to convert them. Okay? So I expect you guys to ensure that you regularly talk to clients and inform them. Today is one of the most, I think it's going to turn out to be a very memorable evening for all of us. Courtesy the man himself, KJ, as we fondly call him, Karthik Jayakumar. So I'll just give a brief intro, though this sounds very odd to me and Karthik because we've been friends for long, but I have to do it as it's my honor and privilege, I should say, Karthik. So Karthik did his bachelor's from School of Excellence in Law, passed out in the year 2014, 1 year after me, but trust me, this guy is really good. He's really good. So he enrolled in 2014 as well, and he has worked with HSB Partners, Amarchand Mangaldas, Essential Legal, and he has his own venture now. It's called Peritum Partners. What are the current trends in law that you see, and what genre of law would you recommend for law students to take up?
Things that are very atypical, things like artificial intelligence, machine learning, Web3, your blockchain, your cryptocurrency. You've got drone tech, you've got all sorts of things which did exist years back, but nobody thought these things would be taken seriously ever. And so much that I recently met with a law firm that is just Web3 focused today.
Good evening, sir. This is Reshma.
Good evening, ma'am.
Sir, I just wanted to know, like, since you did your bachelor's in soil, I just wanted to know what is the reason for you not doing an LLM degree?
Sure. Thank you for that.
He was
question.
a master by then. That was a fact. He already was a master at soil.
Not at all. But thank you for that question, man. This is something I guess a lot of us have had this question all through our journey. In fact, I have a very different goal in life. It's about identifying the reason for why you want to do the masters and identifying whether the masters would add value to the journey that you would want with your career.
Most of the time, I understand that you can't stop data theft. Okay, it is a very difficult process to trust people to give data, and it is almost impossible to recover data. Okay, so I want to be very clear when I say you must have a lot of precautions to protect your client's data and your working data and prevent leakage. So preemption here is better than identifying what to do post the leakage. Okay, the first one talks about having multiple copies, having passwords, different passwords for different files and folders, different hard disks, and ensuring that you have a password manager to understand which goes to what. Remember these things. Surround yourself with very excellent, smart people. Your close circles will give you pointers, but you have to make the decision. Entrepreneurship is like everyday war. I'm not going to exaggerate this. No matter how small your entrepreneurial venture is, even if it's a small coffee shop, I think the amount of variables that can go wrong is just too much. Glad giving law another dimension, which is Origin's pre-seed funding for entrepreneurs in the field of law. If any of you feel and believe that you have a solution for a particular problem in the field of law, we would basically like to hear your pitch. We will provide you with a pre-seed funding, which cannot be a big number because pre-seed funding will be anywhere from 5 to 10 lakh rupees. This is just a ballpark figure. I'm not trying to tell you that, this is the number within which you have to work. I don't know what is the kind of idea, what you guys are looking for, but I'm giving you a basic indicator and pointers towards what can work. So if there is a pitch and if we are interested, we will collaborate with you and we will provide you basic funding to basically start the pilot work on that entrepreneurial idea. So just a small brief about Divakar before I get started. This is very conventional because Divakar and I go way long back, and he's been a very dear friend of mine. So he basically did his BTech from SRM, then followed by BL Honors from School of Excellence in Law, and he enrolled in the year 2012 at the Bar Council of Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, and he worked with the State Public Prosecutor, Senior Counsel Mr. Shanmuga Velayutham sir. And so then he went on to New York University to do his master's program, and then he got back and he became a senior associate with Puvaya & Co. And now he is joined along with his own friends and started Vivrithi Law. And Vivrithi Law is basically into white collar crimes litigation, general commercial litigation, intellectual property rights litigation, you name it, they have an entire boutique of services. I think it's one of the most burning questions for anyone, any law student who completes college. How do you choose a chamber or a senior?
So what I did was, for me, luckily, somehow I believe that I'm better off as a criminal lawyer.
Okay.
Right from my first day at the law school. So all I wanted to do was, take criminal law very seriously, do internships in relating to criminal law. But that doesn't have to be the case with everybody. So what I would recommend is, which I recommend to my interns as well, use your first 4 years to go try out different things. Do a senior counsel, keep your senior counsel internships for the last, but do a firm internship, a law firm internship, do a litigation internship, do a internship in relating to family law, do something related to corporate law, do a bank or an in-house internship. Then you will get a hang of what is what. One is the nature of law that you would like to practice. You will know, there are multiple things about it. One is, you would have believed that you like a particular law, but when you start practicing it, maybe you think, that is not something that you want to. Or you may like the law, but not really how that practice domain is in particular. Sometimes you will not like, having to go to courts every day. I have had interns come up and tell, sir, I'm interested in litigation, but I don't want to go to courts every day. That's their wish. There is no right or wrong about any of these things, okay? Because at the end of the day, you have to love your profession to practice. and you have to really love your profession so that you can offer. You have to love it so much so that you can dedicate yourself completely for the cause of your client.
Which is the right time to move out of a senior's office and start your own venture?
This is $1 million question. Like my senior, Mr. Sajan Povaya said, if you feel like you are to go independent, you should take the jump. Because if you are very calculative about saying, okay, I will have so much bank savings so that I can, even if I go out, I have some security, some backup, then you will never take the plunge. You will not take the jump. You will not, go independent. And you'll get very comfortable in your position. So before you think you get too comfortable in your, another establishment, be it a law firm or somebody's office or a chambers, I would say the moment you feel, you want to go independent and you think you have a decent amount of experience, not anything else but experience, take the jump. But there is no, some of them have done it right after their law school, some of them have done after 2 years, some of them after done 5 years, some of them after 10 years, some of them after 15 years. So there is no, timeline exactly that one could give. But if you think you're ready, just jump.
Good evening, sir. My name is Anushka.
Hi,
So,
Anushka.
I want to ask you regarding when we spoke about AI and all, the intervention of AI in every other field is increasing every other hour, not even days or months. We can say every hour is increasing and it's getting better. So, how do you think it'll, or do you think it'll affect law and litigation or any other, not even just litigation, but corporate, generally in law? Do you think it'll take away our jobs or it'll increase our jobs or it'll make our jobs better? How do you see that intervention, sir?
Right. That's actually a very good question. See, first thing is, I wouldn't say affecting, I would rather say impacting. So AI is certainly, like it has impacted every other field, will also impact upon the field of law. Right now, we have tools that aid and assist us, AI tools that aid and assist us, in our work. Now, how far this is going to go? Now, imagine, remember, law, unlike much of the other fields, is largely based on your client's trust on you. Okay, so there is also the human factor that's involved. So the decision at the end of the day is, made by. It will not be. I don't think in any time in the near future is going to be left out. Would be given to a AI system. So there is definitely going to be human touch to the field or practice of law, and therefore, as of now, I see AI to be definitely impacting our profession in the way that it is. You can use AI to assist in your transaction or in your litigation dispute resolution preparation. But if it is going to take the jobs away from us, or if it is going to put us out of work, is something we'll only have to wait and see.
Today there's been a small change of the schedule. I think you guys know that we have an expert amongst us, and this expert is one of my very dearest friends, so it gives me more immense joy than usual. But it's customary for me to introduce my friend. Her name is Jayalakshmi. She's an advocate who specializes in taxation law, property law, intellectual property rights, trademark litigation. You name it, she will be there. I think most of the field she does cover. And she's worked with legal luminaries like Shri N. Venkatraman, the Additional Solicitor General. So she works as if she has energy of 100 people. I just don't know how she does that. What do you think AI can do to disrupt the industry? Should we be scared about it, losing jobs, things like that?
AI, I would say, is like a skating board when you're walking on the road. If you're going to use the skateboard instead of a cycle or a bus, then it's problematic. But if you're going to use skating board instead of walking, and if you're going to look at the roads properly and ride, you're going to go faster. Very similar to that, when you're doing your job, when you're doing your research, and you're using AI to do the job of a stenographer, drafting it better, looking at draft options and seeing if it's going to make your language sound a little more better and a little more linguistically beautiful. For that, AI is very, very helpful. Like, say, for example, I cannot expect all my juniors to have such proficiency in English.
how and when do you learn how to say no to a client? Like, because it's very difficult to take in everybody that comes. You might not be inclined with the client's ideologies or whatever it is, even the case or the matter. But initially, when you're going, you might be, you'll want to take up everything that comes your way. But again, you might not be inclined. But what to do? I need a client kind of a situation. How do you handle that?
See, that's a very good question, first of all. And I believe in networking. So in briefs which I'm not very convinced, or in briefs that come from that field of law which is not very adept to my kind of practice, I always pair it up with some other person who's an expert in that field. So that way I get to learn the law, but also I need not put in the entire hard work. It'll be a very shared thing. So it'll be easier for you to work out, right? So in law, I think these kind of these kind of tie-ups really work if litigation is what you want. Because see, I don't think in any other profession it'll be nice for them to they would get the opportunity to discuss these different stories in life and make a living out of arguing for somebody. So all that caught my fancy big time when I was a small child. I think a lot of genuine hard work and sincerity in what you do, and most importantly understanding your client well and trying to represent them well, would take you places. I mean, and again, going back to destiny, nobody can stop what is already in store for you.
The first thing you should consider before taking up any case that is brought to you by a client is that whether the client has a proper right to represent the subject matter before the court.
Whenever you get a document from your client, use the 3 filters. Then basically remember there are 2 sides of the coin. You have to be very clear whether the document is relevant by going through all these processes, understanding how to increase liability or decrease liability based on the side of the client that you're arguing. I'm just giving you random examples and trying to make sense of it. Every single contract, there'll be different contracts. It is very important to understand what is the language being used in the contract, if it is providing 2 different interpretations, or if it is giving only one interpretation. If it is giving 2 interpretations, then the conduct of the parties will come into play. So there are n number of things that you guys will learn, which cannot be pressurized into one class, but I'm giving you certain pointers as to how I do it and how I've informed my juniors to go about when they get a brief from a client.
The basic information which reiterates for what the contract has been made, for what the agreement is being signed. This boilerplate clause will have the applicable law and the communication protocols, so and so.
Force majeure clause is the act of God clause. Force majeure can be of various types. It can be act of God, it can be a war, it can also be pandemic situations. For example, we had COVID, which recently happened. In the Contracts Act, there are 2 circumstances which are established, which is a contingent contract for the doctrine of frustration, which is given under Section 32 and Section 56 in the Indian Contracts Act. So, force majeure clause is always added in a contract to save the other party from these unforeseeable circumstances.
Talk about personal branding, because I guess there's something which every lawyer requires and which every lawyer pays least attention towards. So most of the time we believe that a brand amongst lawyers is built organically. Okay, by organically I mean there's a lawyer who does litigation, who learns with good seniors, who moves from one office to another, who takes up good briefs, and he cracks a few cases, and regularly he is seen in the court. People understand his or her way of arguing before the court craft, ethical standards, and over a period of say a couple of decades, over 20 years or more, the name gets registered in everybody's mind. So if I talk about criminal law and Ramjit Malani's name comes across, That is the level of synonymity we are building with that name. Brush up on a few more things. AI's impact. AI will take out a lot of jobs. This is my take, okay? I think 40% of us will have jobs, 60% won't. The remaining 60% will depend on the 40%. People will look into it. I promise you on this. We look into it for hiring for Origin, okay? So resumes are important. They create initial interest, but there's just too many resumes. And if we want to focus on one resume, if you want to be valued, it has to have a lot of internships in it. It has to have a decent level of writing, vlogging. I think that's the future here. Done. So I think it's been quite a good 3 weeks for me and my team, where we have learned quite a lot of things while trying to take materials for teaching you guys. Is this material the know it and end all of things? No, obviously not. I think these materials are giving you concise information to figure out what is next. Okay? I do not want you guys to think that this is the maximum that you'll have to learn. No, this is the most basic you have to learn. You have to build from here. And whenever you have any kind of issues in the field, in your learning, if you feel comfortable in reaching out to people like me or anybody in our team, please do that. We will be more than happy to help you. We can all grow together, like I said.